To win the marathon championship, my wife's first love hired someone to break both my legs, and my wife subsequently abandoned me in the wilderness for 3 days and nights. Later, due to not receiving timely medical treatment, my legs faced amputation risk, but my wife was indifferent and took all my surgery money to host a celebration banquet for her first love. Unable to tolerate this any longer, I chose to file a lawsuit. But her first love smirked provocatively. The doctor already said there's little hope for these legs to heal. Even with surgery, it would just be wasting money. Better to use it somewhere more useful. If you drop the lawsuit, I can give you 1/10 of the prize money. My wife nodded in agreement, praising her first love's kindness. Afterward, she tried both threats and coaxing with me. I advise you to listen to Su-young. After all, I am your wife. Even if you take this to court, I can provide a letter of forgiveness on your behalf. But if you drop the lawsuit, I will continue to treat you as my husband as always and won't divorce you. I looked at the diamond ring on her ring finger and remained silent for 3 seconds. It seemed she really had forgotten. We had already divorced. She couldn't issue a letter of forgiveness, but she could go to prison with her first love. Seeing my silence, Lu Rian thought I had compromised as I had in the past. Her tone softened as she crouched beside my wheelchair. I'm not letting you sue for your own good. Setting aside the large amount of money needed for lawyers and legal fees, even if you have all the money, you might not win the case. Even if you do win, your leg is already like this and can't be restored, but Su-yang's career is on the rise, and it would be affected by this matter. You're my husband, but he's also my friend. I don't want to see you both lose. She kissed my leg through the hospital gown, her tone solemn. Lin Mo, I promise you, whether your leg can be healed or not, I will stand by you and never leave you. In the past, I might have been moved by her tenderness, but now, I just find it laughable. It's happened too many times. She hits me with a stick, then offers a sweet date. She simply thinks that after 3 years of marriage, I wouldn't bear to leave her. But this time, I'm completely disappointed in her. She knew the marathon was the activity I valued and loved the most, yet not long ago, she deliberately tore up my registration form under the pretense of helping me register for the competition. Later, until the list came out and I didn't see my name, I asked her in confusion, and she casually told me that the form was destroyed in the washing machine. I frantically looked everywhere for help, and thanks to my performance record and connections over the years, I finally managed to register. But she just sneered, telling me it was just one competition, why take it? So seriously, thinking she didn't understand, I explained to her again that this competition was different from previous ones. It was global in nature. For this competition, I practiced every day before dawn, running until my legs became weak and my knees couldn't straighten. Also that after the race I could hold her hand and walk up to the championship podium she had always dreamed of. At that time, she avoided eye contact and said casually, I don't care about these empty honors. Whether you win the championship or not, you're still my husband. Back then, I was pleased with myself, thinking she said this to reduce my pressure, but now when I think about it, it was clearly because she had already planned to be on that podium with Su-young. She repeatedly claimed Su-young was just her friend, but over the years, she lied about going on business trips, secretly traveling to cities where he was competing. She deliberately canceled our wedding anniversary that I had spent a week preparing for, specifically to celebrate Su-yang's birthday with him. She would force me to give up marathon competitions, just so Su-young could win the championship. She said she felt sorry for Su-young being alone in this city, which is why she couldn't help but take care of him. However, just last night, sitting in the hospital room, I saw her and Su-young holding hands, standing happily on the championship podium. When an eager reporter referred to her as Su-yang's girlfriend, she made no attempt to correct them. Thinking about it now, in her heart, whether she feels compassion or love for Su-young, only she knows for certain. Seeing that I still remained silent, Lu Rian thought this tactic would work on me like before. Just as she was about to say something, her phone chimed. Lu Rian glanced at it, her eyes revealing undisguised joy. It had been a long time since I'd seen her smile like that in front of me. You stay here and think things over. I'll go downstairs to get your medicine. With that, she left the hospital room without looking back. 5 minutes later, I received a photo from Su-young. Lu Rian, who had just gone to get medicine, was now kneeling on one knee in front of Su-young, gently massaging his knees with both hands, her expression both serious and tender. I just mentioned my knee was a bit uncomfortable, and Rian rushed over to accompany me. Lin Mo, she's never been this attentive to you, has she? Su-yang's tone was provocative, but frustratingly, what he said was true. Around me, Rian was like a child who didn't know how to care for others. Once when we were running a long route, I collapsed at the finish line with weak legs. Rian was right beside me, but didn't even think to help me up. Besides Su-young, I had never seen Rian actively care for anyone. When I didn't reply, Su-young seemed to know what I was thinking and sent another message. Rian doesn't love you, eh? T.all. When she married you, it was just youthful ignorance. She didn't love you when your legs were fine. and now that both your legs are broken and you're disabled, she'll look down on you even more. I suggest you be sensible and initiate the divorce. Otherwise, next time it won't just be your legs that get broken. Worthless. When delivering the last two words, he deliberately added an exclamation mark for emphasis. I looked at these blatant provocations with my usual indifference. It had been like this for years. At first, Su-young would worry about Lu Rian finding out and would promptly recall his messages. But later, once when he exceeded the time limit and couldn't recall in time, I angrily forwarded the message to Lu Rian to complain about him. I didn't expect her to distance herself from Su-young because of this one incident, but I never imagined Lu Rian wouldn't even glance at it before reproaching me for being childish, actually complaining like a kid. Seeing Lu Rian taking his side, Su-young didn't even bother to recall his messages anymore. I still didn't reply, but Su-young probably felt his goal had been achieved, so after sending a few more pictures of him and Lu Rian holding championship trophies, along with 2 or 3 smug remarks, he finally quieted down. I forwarded all these messages to my lawyer. Lu Rian thought I couldn't bear to divorce her, so I wouldn't dare to ignore her warnings and take Su-young to court. But she didn't know that I had already decided to get divorced. I will also get justice for myself this time. Just as I was about to turn off my phone, a fellow runner from the competition sent me a message. Lin Mo, your legs can be treated. You have a way to stand up again. My daughter is studying medicine abroad, and I specifically told her about your situation. As it happens, her supervisor specializes in orthopedic surgery. Her supervisor said that with surgery, you still have a chance to stand up again. My daughter has already booked surgery for you 3 days from now. You can soon return to the track and run with us again. My blood was boiling with excitement. But soon, it was as if a bucket of ice water had been poured over me. After marriage, to reassure Lu Rian, I had given her the passwords to all my bank cards. Just recently, she had transferred all the money from my accounts, even taking away my surgery funds to give to Su-young. The money to hire a lawyer for the lawsuit was what I had secretly saved when I noticed something was wrong. Where would I get another large sum for surgery now? It seemed like they guessed what I was thinking. The next moment, a running buddy sent me a transfer of 100,000 yuan. This is money we all pitched in together. Don't think it's too little. Prepare for your surgery first. Seeing the transfer and the list of donors, I couldn't help but feel a lump in my throat. My relationship with them wasn't that deep. Some I'd only met a few times. Some considered me their strongest rival on the track, but when I encountered difficulties, they still extended their help without reservation. In contrast, my wife. I let out a light snort, finding it increasingly laughable. After repeatedly thanking my running friends, I was considering how to gather the rest of the money. At this moment, Lu Rian walked into the hospital room. As soon as she entered, I smelled the strong scent of perfume on her that belonged exclusively to Su-young. There was an issue at the medication window earlier. I waited for a long time. Lu Rian explained to me with a smile. She seemed to be in a very good mood. Listening to her transparent excuse, I found it amusing. I didn't expose her lie and asked calmly, when will the compensation money from Su-young be transferred to my account? Money. Lu Rian looked slightly surprised, as if she hadn't expected me to ask this. Over the years, the money in our household was by default hers. I didn't want to let financial matters damage our relationship, so I had never been particular with her about it. I nodded and deliberately emphasized, yes, the money Su-young is supposed to compensate me with. Lu Rian snorted dismissively. Why are you asking about this? It's not like we urgently need it. If she wasn't in a hurry, then apparently we weren't in a hurry. I was amused by her response. But I urgently need it. What's so urgent? Lu Rian frowned slightly. I had no intention of telling her about my plans to seek treatment abroad. Before, you took a lot of my equipment and clothes for Su-young. He said he would pay me back, but he never did. I don't believe someone as stingy as him would actually compensate me this time. Hearing this, Lu Rian felt somewhat guilty. Those things wouldn't sell for much even as trash. What's the point of asking for money? I couldn't help but sneer. Lu Rian clearly knew that they were all professional items, each worth at least 10 to 20,000. Now she was calling them trash. I didn't want to argue with her. Tell him to stop delaying. I need this money now, otherwise. Enough, Lin Mo. Why have you become so obsessed with money? Before I could finish, Lu Rian impatiently interrupted me. You're a grown man. Can't you be less petty? All you think about is money. Su-young hasn't received his bonus yet. Once he gets it, he'll definitely pay you. She tried to smooth things over between Su-young and me like before, attempting to brush off the matter. To avoid conflict and fighting with her, I would usually say nothing at these moments. But this time, I didn't indulge her anymore. The bonus was paid out yesterday. Su-young is lying to you. Surprise and guilt flashed in Lu Rian's eyes. It was clearly she who was deceiving me. She knew Su-young had already received his bonus, and also knew that Su-young's promise to compensate was just empty words. She didn't have the heart to pressure Su-young, so she tried to settle things with me, who had always been completely obedient to her. I gave a light sneer. Tell him if I don't see the money by tonight, he can expect to receive a court summons. Lu Rian's face turned ashen, and she immediately slammed the door shut with such force that even the walls shook violently. Linimo, are you really that desperate for money? Do you know how pathetic you look right now? Before I could say anything, a familiar gentle voice came through. Rian, what's wrong? Why are you so angry? The door that had just been slammed shut was gently pushed open, and Su Yang walked in. Seeing Su Yang, Lu Rian's expression immediately softened, completely different from the hostility she had just shown me. Lu Rian didn't speak, tears falling in large drops down her cheeks, as if she had suffered a terrible injustice. Su Yang naturally put his arm around her, comfortingly patted her shoulder, then looked toward me and said, Linimo, I know you're emotionally unstable because of what happened to your legs, but no matter how upset you are, you shouldn't take it out on Rian. That said, it's also my fault. If I had been more careful while driving back then, perhaps your legs wouldn't have been injured. His mouth spoke apologies, but his eyes looked at me full of smugness. We both knew very well that he had deliberately hit me that day, and Lu Rian had also taken away my phone beforehand, so I couldn't call the police. It wasn't until 3 days after the competition ended that I was taken to the hospital by a kind passerby. Afterward, the two of them tried to deny responsibility, but fortunately, I had a habit of wearing a recording device when running, which captured the scene as evidence. Linimo, I must really condemn you. You have such a good wife like Rian, yet you're still not satisfied. If it were me, I definitely wouldn't bear to make my wife so upset. Su Yang continued to prattle on. Listening to his fake sentiment, I remained silent for 2 seconds, then sneered. We're arguing because your compensation isn't adequate. If you can't bear to see her upset, then pay the compensation. Su Yang's expression stiffened. He quickly regained his composure. Of course I can, but I don't have my card with me now, and I don't have that much money. As he spoke, he deliberately pulled out his empty pockets to show me. I laughed coldly, my gaze falling on his gold ring and the luxury watch he had just bought. No problem, you can use these things instead. Su Yang's expression became even more rigid. Rian couldn't be bothered to cry anymore and angrily said to me, Linimo, look at how disgraceful you are now, asking others for things. Don't you find yourself disgusting? But back. Then when she took my money and equipment, spending it all on Su Yang, wasn't it far more than this? I didn't mind it at that time, and she would always hug me and call me generous. Now I'm just asking for my things back, and she says I'm indecent, says I'm disgusting. But it doesn't matter anymore. Anyway, in her heart, I'll never measure up to Su Yang. Being scolded a few more times is fine. Besides, this time being scolded can be exchanged for a pair of legs. It's worth it. It's okay. Rian, it's not worth much money anyway. If Linimo wants them, then let him have them. As he spoke, though Su Yang was still reluctant, he still took off the ring and the watch. Lu Rian gave Su Yang a concerned look, then glared at me, snorted angrily, and turned to leave, with Su Yang hurriedly following after her. This was their standard routine. In the past, whenever I had conflicts with Lu Rian, as soon as she left, Su Yang would always follow right after her. I don't know what they talked about, but each time their relationship would grow stronger, and Lu Rian would look down on me even more. I didn't pay attention to it. Sure enough, within half an hour, I received news of Lu Rian going on a business trip. Linimo, I'm really disappointed in you this time. You should stay in the hospital and reflect on yourself. I've already arranged a caregiver for you. I'm your wife, and I hope for you to get better, not become increasingly petty. I hope you can understand my good intentions. I didn't reply. Even by evening, the caregiver Lu Rian had promised never showed up, and I received the first-class flight tickets that Su Yang had booked for himself and Lu Rian. Perhaps because I had expected this all along, I didn't feel angry, but rather relieved. This was a good opportunity to take care of my final affairs. Before heading abroad for treatment, I authorized my lawyer to file for divorce from Lu Rian. I have video evidence of the two of them conspiring against me, plus all the photos and videos of Lu Rian and Su Yang's romantic moments that he kept flaunting to me over the years as supporting evidence. The outcome of the divorce was practically guaranteed. During the next 2 months, while Lu Rian and Su Yang were sweetly sharing a can of coconut water by the seaside, I was in a foreign hospital having both my legs broken and treated anew. While they were embracing and kissing in a sea of flowers, taking wedding photos, I was undergoing daily examinations, using crutches, and actively pursuing treatment. After they had enjoyed themselves for over 2 months, I saw Lu Rian's post about planning to return to China. By then, I could finally stand independently for 2 minutes. The doctor told me that I still needed to rely on a wheelchair for now, but would only need to rest from this point forward and should recover soon. I wept with joy, just as IW. As about to turn off my phone, I accidentally liked Lu Rian's post with a slip of my finger. As I was about to undo it, Lu Rian's message came through. I need to rest well for a couple of days after I return, so I won't have time to visit you at the hospital. I almost laughed out loud. I had been wondering how to explain to Lu Rian why I had left the hospital for 2 months, but surprisingly, she still didn't know that I was no longer in the hospital, which was just as well. I bought the earliest flight ticket back home and collected the divorce decree from my lawyer. He told me that the appeal for our joint attempted murder case had also been submitted. Barring any unexpected issues, the summons would be delivered to Lu Rian's hands tomorrow. However, something unexpected did occur. I thanked him and wheeled myself back home. I thought Lu Rian hadn't returned yet, but as soon as I opened the door, I noticed a pair of men's and women's shoes at the entrance, both muddy and travel-worn. 2 suitcases were casually placed in the entryway, clothes naturally thrown together. Lu Rian had claimed to have OCD about cleanliness. Previously, when I put our clothes together to wash, she had flown into a rage and angrily threw all the clothes out. Afterwards, she complained that my clothes smelled of sweat. But now, whether she disliked my clothes or disliked me was crystal clear. The sound of Lu Rian and Su Yang's playful laughter came from the living room. Perhaps they were too engrossed to hear me opening the door. I pushed my wheelchair toward the living room. When I entered, I saw the two of them sitting on the rocking chair I had made by hand, face to face, gazing into each other's eyes, seemingly about to kiss. Perhaps noticing something in her peripheral vision, Lu Rian instinctively glanced in my direction. She immediately froze, then stood up from the rocking chair in a flustered manner. "Linimo, why are you here?" I didn't speak. Su Yang also stood up, seemingly displeased that I had interrupted his moment. His eyes showed obvious annoyance. "Linimo, you should at least knock before entering. Appearing so suddenly like this, what if Rian had been alone at home? You might have scared her." The way he spoke made it sound as if he were the man of the house. Lu Rian didn't contradict his words. "I just came back with Su Yang and was planning to rest for a while. Just now I was looking at something on his face." Lu Rian's explanation became increasingly unconvincing, and finally she simply gave up. "Forget it. I won't explain anymore. Believe it or not, it's up to you. After all, you have your own mind. If you want to overthink things, I can't change your perspective." Just like before, she easily shifted the blame onto me. Before I could speak, Su Yang stepped forward. "Linimo, let's talk privately." As he spoke, he pushed my wheelchair to the door. When we reached the doorway steps, I instinctively sensed something wasn't right. Just as I turned my head, I caught Su Yang's proud and arrogant smile. Then, he looked at the back of my wheelchair, trying to forcefully push it down the steps. Understanding his intention, I immediately stood up, grabbed the wheelchair, and moved to the side. Su Yang pushed at nothing, trying to steady himself, but it was too late. He had used too much force and couldn't pull back, causing his entire body to tumble down the steps. Lu Rian heard the commotion and quickly walked out. Seeing Su Yang fallen on the ground, concern flashed in her eyes, and almost without thinking, she slapped me across the face. "Linimo, have you gone mad? Did you do this?" After speaking, she hurried down the stairs and helped Su Yang up. Su Yang was also somewhat bewildered. Everything had happened so quickly. He hadn't expected me to dodge, nor had he seen me stand up, but the fall had clearly made him furious. "Fine. Linimo, you dare to lay hands on me? Tired of living, aren't you?" He was about to push me aggressively when he was stopped by police officers who had appeared out of nowhere. "Are you Su Yang? Someone has reported you and Lu Rian for attempted murder. The court has accepted the case. Please come with us to the police station to assist with the investigation." Su Yang was immediately stunned. Meanwhile, Lu Rian beside him was the first to react. She angrily pulled me aside with quick steps. "Linimo, was it you?" She gave me a cold look. "I advise you to be smart. Withdraw the lawsuit now. You're still alive. There's no way you can win this case. Even if you did actually win, don't forget, I am your wife. I can present a letter of forgiveness." "Letter of forgiveness?" I interrupted with a sneer. Then I handed the divorce judgment to her. "Unfortunately, we're already divorced. The court's divorce judgment has the same effect as a divorce certificate." Worried she wouldn't understand, I deliberately explained. I had thought Lu Rian would be surprised, would be shocked. But unexpectedly, she only paused for a moment and quickly laughed, throwing the judgment paper at my face. "Linimo, what kind of joke are you playing? Do you really think I believe this little trick of yours? How come I never received any notice from the court? I didn't even appear in court. How dare they issue a judgment? I may not understand the law, but I know that for a judgment to be made, both parties must stand trial in court." As she continued speaking, Lu Rian's expression grew increasingly smug. She was convinced that I had forged the document. Looking at her confident eyes, I still reminded her. "During that time when you went on your honeymoon with Su Yang, did you receive a strange phone call?" "I get so many strange calls every day. Which one are you talking abo? UT. A call from the court." "No," Lu Rian stated firmly. I remained silent, looking at her calmly. 2 seconds later, Lu Rian's expression became somewhat doubtful, but she still sneered. "I only received one call from a scammer pretending to be from the court. But since you were always receiving harassment calls, I already helped you change your private number to a new one with anti-harassment features enabled. How would scammers be able to call you? I asked her softly. Lu Rian's face turned a few shades paler. I believe she must have thought about it, but when she was with Su Yang, her heart and mind were completely focused on him, leaving no room to consider anything else. After the court couldn't reach her, I had also attempted to contact her tentatively, but the phone was answered by Su Yang. At that time, Su Yang provocatively told me that they were still watching the sea and asked me not to disturb their mood if I had nothing important. Previously, if I, her husband, merely touched Lu Rian's phone, she would become furious, feeling that I was invading her privacy, yet she willingly handed her phone to Su Yang, who was only referred to as a friend. This situation was also used by the court as evidence for their judgment. I felt both comforted and disheartened, never imagining that what I once thought was a perfect marriage would, years later, be devoid of love, while evidence for divorce came so readily. Lu Rian seemed to have realized this too and became somewhat flustered. They said you wanted to take me to court for a divorce, so I thought they were scammers. Her tone softened. Lin Mo, we've been together for so many years. I believe you wouldn't bear to divorce me. Are you angry with me? Are you jealous of Su Yang? These 2 months, we were actually out looking for doctors to treat your leg. Look, here's a doctor's business card. I was planning to transfer you to a different hospital tomorrow. As she spoke, Lu Rian took out a business card from her pocket and handed it to me. It was an orthopedic doctor's business card. I almost believed her. Unfortunately, I knew very well that this was just a business card Lu Rian had casually obtained to appease me, anticipating that I would be upset when she returned to the country. It had happened too many times before. If she truly wanted to treat my leg, how could she have let me refuse surgery, leaving a person with mobility issues in the hospital for 2 whole months? Su Yang also quickly walked over. Lin Mo, you need to think carefully. You can't even stand on your legs now. If you divorce Rian, what will you do in the future? Ian has been with you for so many years. She doesn't mind your condition, but others might not be the same. If you really get divorced, it might be difficult for you to remarry in the future. You might not even be able to find a wife. Lu Rian nodded in agreement. I snorted with laughter, finding it all ironic. As for my legs, how could she not mind? Perhaps she had forgotten, but when I was competing before, there was once when my leg was slightly injured by accident. I had a cast put on and had difficulty moving around. At that time, Lu Rian only took care of me for 2 days before she started to become impatient. She even jokingly told me that if one day my legs were actually broken, she would definitely leave and not stay with me anymore. She didn't want a disabled husband. Now she's preventing me from getting divorced, not because of love, but because she wants me, for the sake of her face and our marriage, not to sue Su Yang and not make things too serious. I sighed helplessly. Seeing this, Lu Rian mistakenly thought her threats were working, believing that I had taken her and Su Yang's words to heart. Her face showed a hint of smugness. Her tone became more assertive. She exchanged a glance with Su Yang, then said to me, Lin Mo, if you withdraw this lawsuit, I'll pretend this never happened, and I'll go with you to the Civil Affairs Bureau to remarry. If you're unwilling, then there's nothing more I can do. But I still want to remind you, suing Su Yang will only give you momentary satisfaction. Moreover, you're still alive, so even if he's convicted, Su Yang will receive a lenient sentence. He'll pay some compensation and be released before long. But your legs are broken, you don't have much money, and by then you'll have no wife and won't be able to find work. Have you thought about how you'll manage in the future? Su Yang nodded approvingly toward Lu Rian. Lin Mo, as men, I understand what you're thinking, but I advise you to quit while you're ahead. Otherwise, before he could finish speaking, I stood up and pushed the wheelchair away. In front of everyone's surprised eyes, I walked up to Su Yang and faced him directly. Or else what? Your legs? Su Yang stood there dumbfounded. Your legs are healed? Lu Rian also froze, staring straight at my legs, her eyes full of disbelief. What I didn't expect was that after the initial shock, a flash of delight appeared in her eyes, as if she was genuinely happy about my recovery. However, this delight quickly disappeared without a trace, replaced instead by worry. Earlier they thought I would regret the divorce because they were certain I would become disabled, but now that my legs could recover, what could they use to threaten me? Lu Rian clearly thought of this, her expression complicated, visibly flustered. But she still maintained a forced calmness. Lin Mo, since your legs are healed, stop pursuing this matter any further. Su Yang was still somewhat arrogant, smirking at me and saying, Su Yang, your legs have recovered, so what's the point of suing me? Do you really think I'm afraid? Even if you sue me for our attempted murder, you're standing here healthy now, so it will be difficult for the lawsuit to succeed. Even if it does, I'll just pay a fine and be locked up for a few days. Do you think I'm scared? I had already anticipated this attitude from him. I chuckled softly. Yes, the sentence won't be too severe, but what about your future career? I have evidence of your various competition violations in my hands. When we go to court, I'll release it all at once. Do you still think it doesn't matter? Su Yang's face turned pale. Over the years, he had won everyone's affection with his handsome appearance and excellent marathon results, signing numerous contracts. Once the scandal spreads across the internet, how much he'll have to pay in breach of contract penalties is something he knows very well. Lin Mo, brother Lin Mo, let's talk this through. I know you need money, don't you? Actually, I've had the money prepared for you for a long time. Su Yang skillfully placed his hand on my shoulder, speaking in a flattering tone, then hurriedly took out a card from his pocket, stuffed it into my hand, and then whispered to me. I've been planning to give this to you for a long time, but Ruyan said there was no rush and told you to wait a bit longer. She doesn't want your leg to recover. This matter really has nothing to do with me. His voice was very soft, and Lu Ruyan didn't hear clearly. But seeing Su Yang back down, she also realized something was wrong. However, when she spoke, it was to plead for Su Yang. Lin Mo, Su Yang has already given you the money, so don't hold a grudge against him anymore. Let's just put this matter behind us. I also promise you that I'll keep my distance from Su Yang in the future, and we'll live a good life together. Surely you can spare Su Yang now, right? As she spoke, she winked at Su Yang, seemingly hinting for him to say more nice things to me. I just found it amusing and pitiful. She cared so much about Su Yang. I wonder how she would feel if she heard what Su Yang had just said. But I couldn't be bothered to point it out. I said coldly, Lu Ruyan, you may not understand the situation yet. This time I'm not suing Su Yang, but suing both of you. Now, you can barely save yourself. After speaking, I turned to the police officer nearby and said, you can take them away now. Lu Ruyan came to her senses and somewhat exploded. She grabbed the bank card from Su Yang's hand and threw it at my face. Lin Mo, I gave you a chance, and you're pushing your luck, aren't you? I'm warning you, don't regret this. I dodged to the side. Meanwhile, Lu Ruyan was pinned down by the police and forcibly escorted to the police car outside. Su Yang didn't struggle, obediently following the police to the car, and somehow even had the presence of mind to secretly comfort Lu Ruyan. At the moment of getting into the car, I noticed that when Su Yang looked at me, his eyes flashed with a hint of cunning. I was puzzled. When I looked over again, he had already turned around and gotten into the car. After the police car drove far away, I collapsed back into the wheelchair. The recovery time had been too short after all. Actually, when Su Yang handed me the bank card earlier, my legs had already started hurting like needles stabbing them. The rest of the time, I was just forcing myself to bear it. But what surprised me was that I had managed to stand for over 10 minutes this time. It was indeed a good start. But even so, the doctor still told me that even if these legs recovered, they would be hard to return to their original condition and might even leave after effects. So I had to give up long-term leg activities like marathon running. I reluctantly said goodbye to my running friends. After selling the house, I treated everyone to a meal and used the money to repay them double what they had donated. The running friends immediately refused. Lin Mo, we've heard about what happened to you. You need money right now. Don't rush to repay us. Moreover, aren't you in the middle of a lawsuit? You must win this case. That bastard Su Yang has been causing trouble for years and has made a mess of the entire community. Other runners nodded in agreement. Marathon is a competition where victory is determined by ability. But because Su Yang was good-looking and knew how to liven up the atmosphere, he had a large following of fans online. Whenever Su Yang played the victim online, these fans would swarm in, creating a toxic environment in the community that many found unbearable. The runners were firm in their stance, and hearing this, I didn't say anything more. At this moment, one runner stared at me intently before suddenly having an inspiration. Lin Mo, your legs may not allow you to run anymore, but that doesn't mean you have to leave this community. You've been in this circle for 6 years and know it so well. Why don't you apply to become an event referee? Another runner clapped his hands. That's right. You don't look any worse than that bastard Su Yang. You should become a judge, start live streaming, gain followers, and netizens will definitely support you. Most importantly, we all know how much you love this activity and how much you can't tolerate unfairness. If you become a judge, this environment will definitely get better and better. Everyone nodded in agreement. My thoughts stirred. Actually, I had this idea before and mentioned it to Lu Ruyan. But before I could finish speaking, Lu Ruyan mockingly interrupted me. You still want to be a judge and live stream looking like that? Do you really think it's easy like Su Yang and you can succeed too? I suggest you give up on that idea and don't go out and embarrass yourself. I had always deeply believed her words and felt inferior because of them. But now, with everyone's support, my former idea became active again. After returning home, I prepared the application form to apply for a judge certificate. A week later, the night before the court hearing, I received a call from an unfamiliar number. I thought it might be about my application, but it turned out to be Willow calling. Willow wanted to meet me. The evidence I had submitted was sufficient, but since it wasn't a criminal case, the two of them were still free for now, just under supervision. I could probably guess her intentions for wanting to see me. I didn't want to go, but thinking about our relationship of over 10 years, after some consideration, I agreed. I thought you wouldn't agree to meet. As soon as we met, Lu Rian looked at me with a bitter smile. She had lost a lot of weight since I last saw her. Her face was haggard, and she who once paid attention to every detail of her appearance was now wearing an outdated coat, her hair slightly disheveled. If I had seen her like this before, I would have felt heartbroken. But now, I just glanced at her and then looked away. I snorted derisively. If you knew I wouldn't agree, why did you even bother calling? Lu Rian was taken aback by my retort. How have you been lately? She asked me again. I heard you sold the house we bought back then. Let's get straight to the point. I interrupted her. We both knew perfectly well that she didn't just ask me to come over to inquire about my recent situation. Hearing this, Lu Rian pressed her lips together. Lin Mo, we were married for 10 years. Our relationship is no longer just that of husband and wife, but more like the closest of family. After all these days, I've come to understand. I admit that both Su Yang and I were wrong before. We weren't human, we were beasts. Only after you left me did I realize that I've always been the one who couldn't let you go. As she spoke, Lu Rian rolled up her sleeve. When I saw her arm, I was shocked for a moment. Lu Rian, who once cared so much about skincare, now had her arm covered with large scars. These scars were obviously fresh wounds. Some hadn't healed yet and were still bleeding. The flesh was turned outward, looking quite grotesque. She who used to cry over the slightest injury now had a calm expression, as if these wounds weren't even on her body. Did Su Yang do this? I asked. Lu Rian shook her head. I did it myself. I know I was wrong, and I've already punished myself. Lin Mo, I don't expect you to forgive me, but could you, for the sake of our 10 years of marriage, give us another chance and cancel tomorrow's court hearing? Su Yang and I have already discussed it. We'll give you double compensation, plus an apartment. If you still can't forgive us, you can even run over my legs with your car. Lu Rian continued rambling with a pale face. But I understood her meaning. Even now, she was still doing this for Su Yang. I recalled a previous incident when I won a championship and was maliciously humiliated and reported by Su Yang's fans. I was taken away by the police before I could even catch my breath after leaving the competition venue. When I was detained, I desperately begged Lu Rian to help me find evidence to prove my innocence. But Lu Rian just looked at me with a cold expression. I'm quite busy. You should just wait patiently for the investigation results to come out. If you didn't cheat, the judges certainly won't wrong you. At that time, Lu Rian's face was stern, righteous, and dignified. It made it impossible for me to see the person begging pitifully before me now as the same person. I raised my lips in self-mockery. What if I told you that while you've been thinking about how to help Su Yang, in fact, he's been thinking about how to pin the blame on you all this time? Do you still want to hurt yourself for his sake? As soon as the words were spoken, Lu Rian was taken aback. The expression on her face was surprised. Clearly she had never considered this possibility. Following that, her expression showed half belief, half doubt. I already knew her answer, sneered, and stood up. The lawsuit against me is withdrawn. Tonight, transfer double the compensation to my card. The card number hasn't changed. It's still the same one as before. When I said this, Lu Rian's expression instantly showed signs of relief. Seeing her happy appearance, I only felt it was pathetic. After thinking for a moment, I pushed a USB drive in front of her. This is for you. If one day you change your mind and see the truth, perhaps you can use it. After saying this, I didn't look at her expression again and turned to leave. I hadn't planned to let them off. I just thought, if she could use such a self-harming scheme for Su Yang's sake, then, when love turns to hate, what would she do once she discovered Su Yang was truly deceiving her? These days I hadn't been paying attention to their affairs, but I learned from a running friend that during this time, Su Yang had been secretly collecting information about Lu Rian. Perhaps he had liked Lu Rian before. But now, compared to his future prospects, I don't believe he would still choose Lu Rian. I had already guessed that they would eventually break apart, but I didn't expect that it would happen much sooner than I had imagined. By that time, the referee position I had applied for finally had results. After reviewing my resume, they immediately scheduled an interview. With 6 years of experience, everything progressed very smoothly, and I received my referee certificate that same day. When receiving the certificate, the staff member looking at my information hesitated several times before asking, "Are you from the same city as Su Yang?" Thinking it was just another one of Su Yang's fans, I nodded, not planning to say much. But to my surprise, she became somewhat agitated. "Then do you know about the news that just broke today? Not only did he cheat multiple times during competitions, interfere in someone else's marriage, but he also once attempted murder to win a championship." As she spoke, she pulled up the news and handed her phone to me. Only then did I learn that Lu Rian had exposed all of Su Yang's scandals. It started when some of Su Yang's fans discovered the relationship between Lu Rian and Su Yang, and then began to verbally attack Lu Rian online. It was initially a minor incident, But for some reason, fans gradually began to dig up dirt on Lu Ruyan. After uncovering that she was married and supposedly two-timing, many people began to criticize her harshly. The situation escalated and became a trending topic. During this time, Lu Ruyan didn't make any public statement. I could guess that Su Yang was likely consoling her, and since Lu Ruyan trusted him so much, she naturally wouldn't pursue the matter further. But after nearly 3 hours, Lu Ruyan suddenly posted a long clarification stating that it was Su Yang who had aggressively pursued her in the first place. Fans didn't believe her and demanded evidence. So Lu Ruyan released screenshots showing how Su Yang had pursued her and encouraged her to make excuses to meet him. When Su Yang's fans continued to attack her, Lu Ruyan released more evidence. The fans asked for proof, and they got it. All of Su Yang's scandals were exposed. Some fanatical fans begged Lu Ruyan to stop revealing more, but Lu Ruyan was clearly on a rampage, not only releasing evidence, but also posting a screenshot online. A complaint form reporting Yang Su for attempted murder. It had only been a week since I withdrew my lawsuit. I expected Lu Ruyan and Su Yang would soon have a falling out, but I didn't expect it to happen so quickly. However, what surprised me even more was yet to come. During the court hearing a few days later, Lu Ruyan confidently presented all her evidence. But for each piece of evidence she produced, Su Yang had a strategy to clear himself, and by the end of the hearing, Lu Ruyan lost the case. When the trial ended, Su Yang provocatively gave Lu Ruyan the middle finger. Lu Ruyan's face turned so pale that she looked like she might faint on the spot. I took out my phone and only then saw that Lu Ruyan had sent me many messages. Lin Mo, you were right. Su Yang was using me all along. He latched onto a wealthy young lady, wanting to dump me. So he pretended to be his own hater to insult me online while also comforting me, telling me not to pay attention to those insults. But I saw the hater accounts on his phone and discovered it was him all along. He wanted to smear my reputation so he could be with another woman. Irony. Ver expected that woman would believe him, and she took down all my clarification posts. Now everyone is criticizing me, and no one believes me. Lin Mo, I'm sorry, I should have listened to you. I shouldn't have been so foolish back then. Please think of something, help me. Lu Ruyan's regret and remorse this time seemed much more sincere and heartfelt than when she had previously begged me to withdraw the lawsuit. I could tell that this time she wasn't pretending. But how could I help her? I couldn't help at all. She had to walk the path she had chosen by herself. I didn't reply. Over the next few days, Lu Ruyan sent several more messages. To better prepare for upcoming events, I promptly blocked Lu Ruyan. The conflict between Lu Ruyan and Su Yang gradually subsided online, not because interest had waned, but because someone was helping Su Yang remove posts. After Su Yang won the lawsuit, his fans became increasingly arrogant. They even slandered Lu Ruyan, claiming she was trying to gain attention by associating with Su Yang, and they coordinated efforts to suppress the topic. When these matters reached my ears, I wasn't surprised at all, nor did I feel any sympathy for Lu Ruyan. Everything happened exactly as I had expected. However, what I didn't anticipate was that this matter would eventually become a criminal case. After being subjected to prolonged abuse, unable to find work anywhere, and repeatedly forced to leave her rented accommodations when fans discovered where she lived, Lu Ruyan finally couldn't endure it anymore and filed another lawsuit. Yet Su Yang was already well prepared, and Lu Ruyan ultimately lost the case again. When Lu Ruyan took out the dagger she had prepared and swiftly slit Su Yang's throat at the conclusion of the trial during yet another of his provocations, I felt neither surprise nor sympathy for her. Even as he collapsed in death, Su Yang's eyes remained wide open, as if he still couldn't comprehend how Lu Ruyan had dared to do such a thing. Before her arrest, Lu Ruyan calmly sent me a message, apologizing to me once again. By that time, however, I had already reached heights in my competitive career that I had never achieved before. Upon seeing her message, I merely smiled faintly. Deep love breeds deep hatred. Since there was no love left, what hatred could remain? Everything had